Hey team, the topic for this video is unappreciated delivery, which is kind of a very boring sounding title, but at the end of this video, you'll have understood why it's such a problem for clients, how we can spot and avoid it, and the key really to proper delivery with clients, which I'll just tell you is about communication. No surprise there, I hope. Let's get into it. Basically, clients don't appreciate much at all. They certainly don't appreciate everything we do, so we've got to be very careful that we understand what they do appreciate. Outcomes need to be understood and they need to be agreed. More importantly, we might understand it, but we need to agree with them what we're going to work on. Consulting, this is a nice definition in Alan Weiss's book, The Consulting Bible. And if you've seen my other video, Consulting versus Coaching, I'll link to it at the end of this video. You can get a bit of an overview of the difference. But most of the time with our clients, we're in a consulting mode. So what is consulting? It's improving the client's position. Part of a client's position is perception of what's happening. And in fact, you could say, as I often do, perception is reality. It doesn't really matter what's happening. It's what people think is happening. It's the same with clients. What they think is happening is really important. You can see why communication is going to be a key part of this. All right, let's just jump ahead and quickly I'll talk about some of the common examples of unappreciated delivery with clients that we sometimes fall into the trap of doing. And then it's not intentional. Sometimes we might just work on a low priority item instead of a high priority item. We're just trying to tick that off. That's often not appreciated by clients. There's a reason things have high priority. Platform updates is a classic one. HubSpot, for example, is always rolling out new betas and updates to the system. And so sometimes we think we're doing the client a favor. Oh, here's a new feature you might like. We've rolled it out in your portal. Now, we need to be proactive, so it's a delicate balance between being proactive versus going off priority and giving things that they might not necessarily want or appreciate. So we've got to be careful there. We do need to be proactive, but as we'll come back to at the end, it's about communicating and confirming with clients. Raising new items out of context. Often as consultants, we see a high-level picture of client businesses and processes, and we often know better than our clients what the problems are. We have that perspective where we can come in with all our experience and go, okay, I can see what the problem is. They're quite often caught in the day-to-day grind. They can't see it. And so we often think, oh, that's a good thing. I'll highlight these issues to them so that we can help them further improve their condition. The problem is that clients are often just very focused on items that need to be addressed at the moment, priorities and things like that. So when we raise these things, there's the danger that they think, hang on, this wasn't part of the scope of work. You're just trying to upsell me on something else. And so you can see there's a negative perception that can get attached. We sometimes create assets. We think we're doing them a favor. Hey, we created this for you, this email, maybe this snippet, this sequence, workflows, properties, website updates. Hey, we just went ahead and updated this for you, thinking we're being proactive in their best interests. And then we find actually they don't appreciate that. So even if some of these things we don't charge for, it's not like they're annoyed that they got a bill for stuff that they didn't ask for. Often we try to do this to over-deliver, try and go above and beyond, but it often works against us. So what are the problems? Well, for the clients, there's two problems. Their perception is we don't understand their needs or their priorities, and even worse, that we're wasting time. And as I said, we might not even be charging for this, but they're thinking like, you're wasting time. What are you doing? And so then the problem for us is, well, we are wasting time and we're losing money. So that's not good for us. So how do we overcome this? Well, to avoid this unappreciated delivery situation, we've got to be clear on client objectives. Okay, that's the overall high-level picture. Where are they going? Current state versus future state. If we don't even know the journey they're on, then we're going to have a hard time understanding priorities and outcomes for them. But then, once we do have those priorities and outcomes listed out, a bit of a plan there, we need to confirm it. We need their confirmation, yes, this is the plan and the priority, and yes, we can make a start. But then most importantly, we need to have regular check-ins. Why? Because in just about every business that we're working with these days, it's rapidly changing. So priorities, business objectives, and topics internally to the business are often changing, sometimes daily, often weekly and monthly, certainly quarterly. So we've got to have regular check-ins, ideally every week or two with all of our clients, confirming that those priorities haven't changed and that the outcomes that we're working on are still the outcomes they want us working on. the outcomes that they appreciate. So where does this leave us all? Really, it's communication is key. Hopefully this isn't a surprise. We understand that communication is so important in every facet of our lives, business, personal, relationships. So it's no surprise here that communication is the key to solving all of this. Communication, good communication solves everything. In fact, I think over communication is good, whereas over delivery is often bad. Over delivery, unappreciated delivery works against us. Over communication is good. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And if you want to watch some of those other videos, I've got here our video on consulting versus coaching, and also here on forced value, of which this topic is adjacent. See you in the next one.